I'm Kaylee, and today I'm doing the Create the Perfect Book Challenge. This challenge was created by Daniel Green and the delightful Murphy, and I will link both of their videos down below. Now, they both did Create the Perfect Fantasy Book, whereas I'm actually going to do Create the Perfect Classic. In their videos, they had a few different categories of what makes up the perfect book. I'm sort of using their categories, and I have some of my own categories, or I've kind of used their category but called it a different name. So I have several that we're gonna try to use to create the perfect classic book. Now, of course, keep in mind that all of this is just my personal opinions, my personal favorites. If you like something different, I think that's fantastic. So I wrote out for myself a long list of favorite classic authors and what it is about their writing that I really like and what it is about their books that I think really defines their style. And then I took that list and I started figuring out who are my top contenders for each category. And of course, the way I do, I love to type up long 2-page lists of things and then write in little notes for myself on the side too. So we have quite a few to go through today. The first category is tone, just kind of the mood, the writing tone. And I have 5 different people who were the top picks for tone. So first I have Frances Hodgson Burnett, which is a very light tone. I have George Gissing, which is more of an analytical sort of tone. Thomas Hardy, very practical and straightforward. Mary Shelley, very intellectual and contemplative. And Kenneth Grahame, a very imaginative, whimsical sort of tone. And the winner for this round is Mary Shelley. Intellectual and contemplative is the style, the tone that I really love. Of course, Mary Shelley is well known for Frankenstein, which has a very dark mood to it as well, but it's not really as dark as you think. It's not like as gory maybe as you think it would be. Most of the book is this intellectual wonderings and this thoughtfulness about the meaning of life and stuff like that, which is just the kind of thing that I love. Our next category is writing style or prose. I also have 5 contenders for this one. The first one is Charlotte Bronte. She has very emotional writing style. Wilkie Collins has a really exciting type of writing style, just very in the moment. William Thackeray has a descriptive style that really puts you into the scene. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle has a very straightforward style, just telling the story like it is and no extra frills. And Elizabeth Gaskell has a very meaningful writing style. Every little detail has meaning. And the winner for this round is Charlotte Bronte. Especially in Jane Eyre, you can see how emotional and dramatic her writing style is. It really tugs on your heartstrings and makes you feel things in the story with the characters. Our next category is plot. I only have 4 contenders for this one. I have Frederick Marryat, who is known for his action-adventure stories. Jules Verne, of course, is known for his very imaginative plots. Robert Louis Stevenson will take you on an amazing adventure, just incredible adventure plots. And Alexander Dumas is known for his very intricate, complex plots with a lot of moving parts. And the winner for this round is Alexander Dumas with his very complex plots. One of my favorites of his is The Count of Monte Cristo, and there are just so many different threads to the story that all come together really well in the end. And oh man, I just love his plot structure. It is so deliberate, and yet there are so many levels to everything that's going on. Our next one is world building. Jules Verne is known for his really outlandish just crazy imaginative world building. Lew Wallace is known for his really intricate world building of actual historical settings. Kenneth Grahame is known for world building in the animal world, so just creating this beautiful fantasy world peopled with animals. And Rudyard Kipling has wonderful world building with the jungle politics and the law in the Jungle Books. Alexander Dumas, of course, is known for his complex societal structure. And the winner for world building is Rudyard Kipling. I just love how immersive and imaginative the world building is in the Jungle Books. Like, it just creates this whole other culture of the jungle animals, and it's incredible. And then we have action or battles. Frederick Marryat is known for his big sea battles. R.D. Blackmore brings his characters into historic battles. Anthony Hope is known for his action with espionage. And of course, Edgar Rice Burroughs is famous for Tarzan, and he can really write these animal fights in a really energetic way. Robert Louis Stevenson, of course, calls to mind pirates and action that way. Lew Wallace is known for that famous chariot race. Sir Walter Scott also wrote about some very historic and iconic battles. And Rudyard Kipling, of course, is known for some animal fights in the Jungle Books. The winner for this round is Frederick Marryat with his sea adventures and battles against pirates at sea. I mean, you just have to look at the covers of some of his books, and it's depicting a big battle at sea. It's all about the action. And then we have the mystery category or suspense, or it could even just be like a really big reveal that's happening. We have Charlotte Bronte, who of course is known for the big dark secret that's being revealed in her plot. Anne Radcliffe has really mysterious settings in her books. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, enough said, it's all about the mystery. E.W. Hornung has mysteries that are more like puzzles. We have to kind of fit all these little pieces together. And Alexander Dumas has a lot of surprise twists in his books. And the winner for this round has to be Sir Arthur Conan Doyle with the iconic Sherlock Holmes mysteries. I mean, can there really be any other winner in the category of mystery? I mean, I don't think so. I mean, if you would have put somebody else there, okay, fine. But for me, it's Sherlock Holmes right at the top of that list. Now we come to the romance category. Woohoo. So of course we have to include Jane Austen in here. Her romance stories tend to have complex relationships where there's a lot going on with other characters that bring our romantic characters together. Louisa May Alcott has characters where there's kind of a slow burn, where they gradually over the years come to care for one another. And Elizabeth Gaskell writes wonderful hate to love relationships. She has really great complex dynamics between her characters. Anne Bronte writes books about romantic longing, where you're wishing for a relationship with someone. And Marie Corelli writes wonderful romances where the romantic partners, they have to weather the storm together. They have to go through trials together to prove their love. So those are wonderful. And the winner for romance is Elizabeth Gaskell, specifically because my favorite romance is From North and South. Complex relationship, it's a hate to love romance. There's just so much in there that makes this romance so fantastic. Now comes a category that is going to be very hard to decide, and that is characters. I am definitely a character-driven reader, and it's just so hard to make this decision. So our choices are, of course, Charles Dickens, because, you know, Charles Dickens, he has amazing characters. He writes characters with really complex personalities. Frances Hodgson Burnett has very sweet characters. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle writes memorable characters. Anthony Trollope has characters that are in really complex social positions. William Shakespeare writes characters that are just larger than life. Like they're just forceful characters. And Thomas Hardy writes sort of detailed characters. Like there's just all these little nuances in their personality. And the winner for the characters has to be Charles Dickens. I mean, there's just nobody like Dickens when it comes to writing amazing characters. Bleak House, David Copperfield, Martin Chuzzlewit. I mean, just so many amazing, amazing characters that stay with you through the years. Our next category is the villain, the antagonist. Charles Dickens, of course, writes really just disgusting, repugnant villains. R.D. Blackmore, his villains are more just sort of vulgar and really vicious. Lew Wallace writes violent villains who are really malicious. And Alexander Dumas, his villains tend to be more calculating and cold. So the winner for villains is going to be R.D. Blackmore, specifically in Lorna Doone. The villains in here are just vulgar and small-minded. They're just really malicious and self-centered. Ugh, I just hate those guys. And then, of course, we have our hero, our protagonist. Again, Charles Dickens is on the list because he writes complex heroes who don't always do the right thing. Sometimes they make mistakes, but they win through in the end. Wilkie Collins writes really admirable main characters, like just they're very inspiring. Sir Walter Scott is really good at making a hero who doesn't start out a hero. Through the story, they develop into a hero. Jane Austen, of course, has lovable heroes with lots of integrity. And Elizabeth Gaskell, her heroes tend to be very intelligent and hardworking. The winner for this category is Wilkie Collins. He really does have just such inspiring, admirable heroes. I'm thinking specifically of the hero, the protagonist in The Woman in White, who is one of my favorite romantic heroes. Our next category is humor. Very important to have humor in your perfect book. Jane Austen is known for her sarcasm. Louisa May Alcott is very witty in her dialogue. Lucy Maud Montgomery uses a lot of silly situations to create humor. E.W. Hornung has kind of a playfulness to his humor. Mark Twain is known for a mocking, sort of sarcastic humor. And Kenneth Grahame has this sort of innocent, childish playfulness as well. And the winner for humor is E.W. Hornung, specifically the Raffles the Amateur Cracksman books. There's just such a charm and playfulness in the humor in these books. It's really fun and witty, and I just love it. It makes me laugh. And our last category is drama or conflict. Frances Burney creates conflicting desires in her characters, and so that creates a lot of drama in her books. Anne Radcliffe has conflict in the perceived expectations of her characters. It's these expectations and how they perceive things that creates the drama in her books. Now, William Shakespeare, I had to think about for a while. Like, what is a big main theme in all of Shakespeare's plays that creates drama, that creates conflict in his works? And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I think I finally hit on one big thing that creates conflict in Shakespeare. And you guys tell me if you think I'm right. In one word, I can sum up all the drama in Shakespeare. Identity. So many of his plays are about people who have contrasting identities, or they're trying to live up to an identity, or they have a mistaken identity, or in some way their identity, who they are, who they want to be, who other people think they should be, or who they're pretending to be, creates the conflict in Shakespeare. And then we have Sir Walter Scott. A lot of the conflict and the drama in his books come from contrasting cultures, either just completely different people, coming from different backgrounds, or people who have some kind of different expectation from their culture and how that creates conflict between them. Now, George Eliot is a master of creating internal conflict. In her books, it's all about the internal conflict, the internal struggle that the character is going through. In William Thackeray's books, it's more about conflict between the social classes. And our winner for drama and conflict I thought about going with Shakespeare, but in the end, like my perfect book of how I would just love to see a book created with this style, with these themes, I have to go with Sir Walter Scott. I think especially in one of my favorite books of his, Waverley, you see these contrasting cultures of England and Scotland and how people just think differently and behave differently, but how they can find common ground. Growing up as a bicultural kid myself, I love stuff that has to do with contrasting cultures. That's a theme that just really resonates with me, so that's why I have to choose Sir Walter Scott. And there you have it. We have created my perfect classic with the tone of Mary Shelley and the writing style of Charlotte Bronte and the plot by Alexander Dumas, Rudyard Kipling's world building, Frederick Marriott's action, the mystery of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the romance of Elizabeth Gaskell, the characters by Charles Dickens, the R.D. Blackmore's villains, and Wilkie Collins' hero, and the humor of E.W. Hornung, and the drama, the conflict, by Sir Walter Scott. That is quite a hodgepodge of different styles and themes. Oh, if such a book were ever really to be created, I don't know how all of those things would actually mesh together, but somehow, if that were to work, that would be my perfect classic. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know what elements would make up your perfect classic. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.